Chelsea host Everton at the Bridge this evening. This fixture exactly a year ago today was the last time we saw Stamford Bridge full with fans. Hopefully it won't be too much longer before we pack out the Matthew Harding again. Should be a good game today. Good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live. Thank you for joining us. We're in the company of Jason Cundy, Pat Nevin and Zach Jellop for this one. Zach, I want to start with you, mate, because, we touched on it a little bit, and I know that you'll have probably done the same as me today, gone through your phone camera roll and picked up the last video of you walking up to the stadium, the last picture of inside Stamford Bridge. It's been a long and difficult year, and it feels strange that it's a year ago today, but hopefully it won't be too much longer.
Indeed. There's now light at the end of the tunnel. We've got dates, whether we reach them or not, we'll see. But at least there's something there that we can kind of work towards, keep our hopes up. And who knows? I've even seen rumours that the last 2 game weeks could have 10,000 people at the stadium. Whether that happens, we'll see. It's been a strange old year. It's weird that it's the same day, where the same game, literally 1 year on. It's kind of freaky, to be honest. And a lot has happened. I feel like I've aged a lot and matured a lot during it. But in a football sense, again, been never a dull day at Chelsea, I'll tell you that.
It's strange how it works in a full cycle, doesn't it, Jay? So this specific game, this specific day, this time last year for this one, 4-0 Chelsea, obviously, on the day. We've just seen the goals, Mason Mount, Giroud amongst them as well. I know that every fan feels the same. I know every player and every manager has to say it, but how much do we properly miss fans? Because every team's got that connection, but it's something. I know I'm going to be biased, obviously. There's something special about Stamford Bridge being full.
No, I've been lucky enough to go to games during lockdown, as Pat, and I feel very privileged to be here again today. I'm very lucky, but I will never get used to it. Walking up to Stamford Bridge, no matter how you get here with your drive, there's no atmosphere. There's no one outside. It's dead. It's so sanitised. People wearing masks. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. They're taking your temperature. It's one of the saddest experiences you can go through. But I feel incredibly privileged to be here. But and it's been said, and it's a phrase for a reason. Football is nothing without fans, and we're not. It feels as though we're not too far away now. And the day that I can be here and have people around me singing, celebrating, is a day that I just cannot wait to go. It can't come soon enough. And I have to say, I think football, all the broadcasters, I think that the grounds have been superb in what they've done to get us through what has been an incredibly testing time.
Pat, everything that Jason said, echoing 100%. We've been very, very spoiled the amount of football that there is on TV to watch and the amount that keeps us going. Even the fact that we're talking about a Monday at 6 p.m. kickoff is something that wouldn't have been even considered, at 360 odd days ago. But it is going to be important to remember that we are kind of, I suppose, on the home straight. We know that if we carry on behaving in the right manner and do the right things and don't get ahead of ourselves, then hopefully it won't be too much longer before we can be back inside stadiums.
Yeah, it's a desperation. And funnily enough, in Scotland, there was a problem with Rangers fans all met up the other day after winning the league. And there was a bit you think, you understand it? They waited 10 years. The football fans love their football. And it's desperate, as Jason said. It's absolutely not the same. Again, we're very lucky. Strangely, one of the last games that we played before a full audience, and it was Liverpool I went to, they were playing a Spanish team in the Champions League. And I was at that game. And it was amazing, the noise. Liverpool blew it on the night, but it was amazing, the noise. And then I was at Anfield the other night there when we beat them 1-0. And it was really, really weird. Liverpool trying to fake, go into the cop, and there's nothing there. And it makes a big difference. And I think it's impressive that our team have actually kept on going this season, particularly at the moment, really, really well, considering at home you need the backing of the fans. And a lot of teams are really, really struggling with it. So can't wait to happen. We've had that little period when we had a few fans in, and it was brilliant. It was joyous. It just felt, wow, the excitement. And then we had it taken away. But it feels as if it's getting pretty close now. I cannot wait for it, and our fans can't wait for it, because by the time they get back in, I think our team's going to be looking pretty much mature, which is a great thing.
Champions League winners are here, Pat. On to play predictor. On to play predictor for today. This is your chance to win a £100 Megastore voucher and a signed shirt as well. Your deadline is 5 p.m, so not too much longer. Make sure you get over to the fifth stand and submit your predictions quickly. Adrian from the UK won on Thursday with 86 points in our 1-0 win over Liverpool. Good work, Adrian. Here's what we have gone for today. Then I've gone for a 2-0 Chelsea win. Jason has gone 2-1. Zach has gone 3-0. Pat has gone 2-0. Jace, 2-1. This is a very difficult fixture. You know, we know how good Everton are. Carlo Ancelotti brings something different as well. We've obviously very fondly remembered at Chelsea, but it's going to be a test tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that game a year ago today. They're a totally different side to what they were. We won that game convincingly, as the scoreline would suggest. But Everton are a different animal right now. They're a point behind with the game in hand. They have their eyes set on the big prize, that top four. Theirs, like other teams, have been inconsistent. Their home form up to recently has been pretty bang average. They lost a lot of games, but they're a decent side. They've got good players. They're well organised. This will be a tough game tonight. Make no mistake about it. I know Zach's gone 3-0, and I'd love to think it's going to be 3-0.
Manifest it.
There you go.
Believe.
Yeah. I just feel this is going to be one. If we do win this game today, and I believe we will, it'll be a massive win because of where they are in the league. They've got a game in hand over us. We saw Leicester win. We saw Man United win. This is a big game, must-win game, I'd say. And if we can get over the line anyway with 3 points, I'll take it. But I think it's going to be really tight.
Our hot topic one for tonight is through the toughest test of the weeks for flying colours. You've got to remember this through the toughest week. It's been such a challenging week in terms of Atletico Madrid away, Manchester United and Liverpool as well. Pat, those three games, when you stack them up, they are a ridiculously difficult set of fixtures whenever you play them, let alone playing all three of them in the space of about 10 days. The Manchester United result now looks even better as to what we've seen in the last 24 hours or so, considering how they got on against Manchester City. The Liverpool result, you can make an argument or a case either way, you know, considering Fulham got a result there yesterday as well. But the difficulty is now, and it kind of leads on from what Jason's saying, does tonight then become the most important game we've played this season? Because it only matters if we get a result tonight, how good the last week has been. If we don't get a result tonight, then it kind of undoes all that hard work.
Funny enough, I put Everton in with that group of games because they're actually doing so well just now. So I wanted to come out of this group of games with us in touch with the top four, which we will be, which I'm kind of comfortable we will be, and also in a good place in the Champions League, which I'm pretty sure we will be as well. I'm really comfortable about that. So yeah, it's a massive game. It's a big game. It would knock Everton back a lot because, I mean, they've been riding the crest of this incredible wave, riding their luck as well, it has to be said. But what a difference it would make to us. And we would be on the coattails looking up instead of looking back. And that's a big difference. That's a psychological difference to everybody in the team. When you're looking up the league thinking, I can see Leicester and they've got a whole bunch of injuries. United, okay, they're a good result there, but they're not in a great run at the moment. You're looking up. Whereas if you lost it tonight, you would be looking at Spurs. You were looking at things behind you. And you don't want that to be the case. So, yeah, it's a massive game for us tonight. I mean, I went for 2-0. And I'm going to stick by the 2-0 because of no choice. But I think the way that Carl is going to go for it tonight, I think he is going to go for it. I think this is going to be a wildly open game. And, do you know, if I had a chance to change it, I might be tempted to go for 3-1. I think there's going to be goals tonight.
Well, Zach, the reason I've saved just to the end is because I know you've been saying to us, you know, you're manifesting the fact of 3-0, but also it does feel like tonight is the opportunity to put a statement down, doesn't it? And that statement would be emphatic if we win 3-0.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think so far, as great as a job Tuchel has done, we haven't yet put a game to bed. Every time we're in the last couple of minutes, 85th minute, we're still kind of worrying. If there's one, you know, they get a goal here, it could be the end. And so if he's able to do that today with a 3-0 win, it would be a really good result. I mean, it's not going to be the same Everton side that was a year ago when we won 4-0. They've dramatically improved since then. And also, I think as Pat said, it's not going to be the same Everton than we played a few months ago under Lampard and we lost 1-0. It's going to be a bit more open and, hopefully manifesting 3-0.
Hopefully. I mean, Jay, like Zach said there, and you were nodding in agreement, we have been getting to games. 1-0 is one of my favourite scores in football because it means that you're doing enough and you're not conceding the goal. And, you know, we all fondly remember the Jose Mourinho era where it felt like we won 1-0 every week for an entire season. But when you are getting into games and we are sitting there in the last 10, 15 minutes a little bit tense, it does feel like there's going to be a game where we do run away with it. Do you think that is, like Zach saying, maybe tonight?
Possibly. Pat's made the point, didn't he, that Everton will come onto us. Well, that kind of suits us, doesn't it? You know, you look at the games that we've played, we've had the vast majority of football. And when that happens, teams tend to sit in and it makes life difficult. Very little space in behind, very condensed in the middle of the park. We're trying to get our creative players on the ball. It's hard because there's lack of space in there. That might not be the case today. We might see one or two of the players getting a little bit more time, a little bit more space than they've become accustomed to recently. Go back to the first game we saw under Tuchel against Wolves. Wolves played a 5-4-1 formation, and it was painful to watch because we couldn't get in those little areas enough. Today, that may well be different.
Well, we are joined by Ben Andrews from Stamford Bridge for us this evening. I'm kind of lost between the two this evening, Ben. I'm not really sure where the cut-off is or where it starts. So thankfully you're here to save me. Yeah, there we go. That'll do us. You're there to talk to us for the team news for this evening today.
Yeah, 5 changes, folks. Thomas Tuchel has really shifted things about. Heavy rotation. Alonso is in for Chilwell. Zouma is in for Rudiger, Kovacic is in for Kanté, Hudson-Odoi for Ziyech, and Havertz is starting ahead of Mason Mount, who has been one of those like Azpilicueta who started all the league games since he got in. Thiago Silva, incidentally, is a substitute. Having missed 7 matches, he is back, but only on the bench because he can't displace the Rolls Royce that is Andreas Christensen at the moment. For Everton, 2 changes that I know Jason will be interested in particular because he's a big fan of Doucouré. He's not involved. Alan, Jorginho's old mate from Napoli, comes into midfield, and their other change sees Gylfi Sigurdsson, who always does good things against Chelsea, for Swansea, for Tottenham, for Everton all the time. He's in for Bernard, who never does anything except pick fights with Tony Rudiger. So, yeah, 5 changes and 2 for them.
I mean, very, very quickly on those then Ben, are any that surprised you with that? I mean, I suppose all of us now raise an eyebrow when Mason Mount's not in the starting 11, but when you've got someone like Kai Havertz and Callum Hudson-Odoi to come in, that's the brilliance about having a strong squad.
Well, the Hudson-Odoi one for Ziyech, I don't think that's that much of a surprise. Hakim's not at it fully at the moment. Definitely the Havertz for Mason Mount is an eyebrow raiser, isn't it? I mean, Mason has to have the odd break sometime. I did wonder, given that he's banned for Atletico, whether that would mean he could definitely, bookend it and play the games either side. But I guess he'll be back for Leeds at the weekend. Rudiger's been so trusted. Kurt Zouma's barely had a kick. That's another interesting one. And, no N'Golo Kanté after he's had the manager singing his praises. But he did also say, didn't he, that he had to manage his minutes carefully. And given that N'Golo started Man U and Liverpool, maybe that's that.
Pat, Jason makes the point quite regularly, and it feels like today is a prime example of that kind of picking players for the occasion, picking players for the difference of opinion in terms of who you're going to be set up against. And maybe N'Golo Kanté against Liverpool, where it feels like we're going to need a lot of chasing. Atletico Madrid likewise, whereas today in that midfield against, like Ben's alluded to, Alan and Gylfi Sigurdsson, perhaps it's a keep ball exercise a lot more today. So do you think that's why Jorginho and Kovacic are in?
I just think he trusts them 2 together, and I think he trusts various ones together. I think he's happy with you get any of them. Kovacic can play easily with N'Golo Kanté, so can Jorginho play with N'Golo Kanté. So it's fine, it's okay. Whichever 2 of the 3 are in there in that central area can hold the ball, because N'Golo's come on a great game recently. But it's all about the exhaustion of a lot of players. You cannot let them dip too far. As I say, you mentioned that Liverpool-Fulham game. I was at the Liverpool-Fulham game yesterday. Liverpool are gone, man. They've just gone. They've asked too much of the players for too long. They've gone. We have to use this advantage we've got, which is an amazing squad. We can make 10 changes and we look okay. So you have to kind of make them now and again. And the guys have been playing all the time. You need to pick and choose the times when they get a real decent rest. Now, to be honest, leaving Mason out tonight, yes, it's an eyebrow raiser, and yes, he'll miss the game against Athletic. But there's a bit of you that thinks, is that really a rest? You do need a real decent amount of rest, especially if you're carrying a little injury. So I'm not at all over-worried, concerned. Zouma's the one that's interesting for me, the big one. So why Zouma today? Why in this one? And it is the horses for courses, isn't it? Dominic Calvert-Lewin's up front. He is very, very good in the air. He's also very, very quick. And Zouma is the one guy that physically absolutely can stick with him, really will stick with him all the way. So I think that I understand that to some degree, why he's thinking along those lines.
Jace, I find that really interesting because, like Pat made the point, Kurt Zouma's, I mean, aerially, there are few better than him in the world, never mind in the Premier League. You know, I mean, his stats back that up. And I know you did an analytical piece on him earlier in the season about his heading aerial ability in terms of winning amount of duels that he does. But it feels strange that we're in a position now, 3 or 4 weeks down the line, when Rudiger and Thiago Silva aren't starting, because 4 or 5 weeks ago, they were immovable. And now, the form of Christensen and Kurt Zouma with the opportunity again tonight. And again, like we've seen with Christensen, if Zouma plays well tonight, you can make a case for Antonio Rudiger having a spell on the touchline, and that's only got to be a huge positive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Pat's absolutely right to mention was that Kurt's playing. You've got two of the best headers of a ball in this game today are going up against each other. Calvert-Lewin is brilliant in the air. He's superb. Kurt is probably, as we discussed, one of the best aerial defensive headers in Europe. So that's exactly why he's been brought back in. I think if you're playing against the Danny Ings, you might find that there's perhaps something different again. You're playing against maybe Spurs when they don't perhaps have that number 1, number 9 or something. Maybe you play against City. I think it will change. And I think he looks at each game individually, looks at the individuals he can pick and put them into that formation. Kurt gets the nod today. Christensen's down the middle. And that, I think he's earned his stripes because he has had the chance and he has gone in, and it ain't just a game. We're talking now since Spurs, what's that, half a dozen games?
7.
Seven. Immaculate. He's been immaculate. And it's hard to make a case for getting Christensen out and putting Thiago in. He might look at Athletic, where he might want that European experience. That might be the game that he decides to bring him back in. Who knows? But so far, I think it's fair to say Tuchel has got his team selection right. And maybe that's why we've seen Havertz in there. Pat made the point earlier about if they do come onto us and expecting them that, Havertz might have a little bit more space because the games he's played in hasn't really been able to affect the game because largely I feel as though he's been crowded out. He might find tonight he gets a little bit more room to wiggle.
Ben, that's a very interesting point that Jay made there about that. You know, the space that Kai Havertz will occupy, and I suppose having him a lot more central, and then having Hudson-Odoi and Werner are both very mobile and very adaptable and flexible to kind of blend around him rather than a specific number 9, perhaps. I think that'll play a part into the getting the best out of Kai Havertz.
Well, you'd think so, because, I mean, a lot of us are still, because he's not, well, he had a run right at the start, didn't he? He was actually the only ever-present starter right at the beginning of the season under Frank. But we're still trying to work out, and maybe Thomas Tuchel is too, exactly what he is and where he would at his best fit in. And it has to be this position, doesn't it? I think we're all agreed in that. As a 10, I don't really want him out wide, that's for sure, because he's not that kind of guy. He's like a more mobile Mesut Ozil and a bit more physical with it. So you want him doing the cute thing if he can pick up that bit of space. I do wonder if Everton will come on or not. I mean, it's hard to know. They were all over Chelsea like a rash in the Goodison game before Christmas when we could have gone top, unbelievably. And then again, Carlo brought that side here. I don't know if you remember last match before lockdown was here. And they were appalling. Pat and I agreed it was the worst decent sides performance that we had ever seen here at Stamford Bridge. And I think was it 4, and it could have been 24. And that, you know, they were awful. So I mean, I'm not sure they had a bad start to the year, but they've just won 3 in a row without conceding. So how front foot are they going to be? Are they thinking this is a direct rival for a top 4? Are they being that ambitious? I think they probably are, and they probably should be, given this sort of God knows what's happening kind of season that we're in. I mean, they ought to be going for it because there's probably 1 and maybe 2 spots available.
Completely. Just carrying on with Kai Havertz there, Zach, because like Ben said, we know how good he is, and I suppose getting the best out of him, you do want him in the middle of the park where he can affect things. Now's an opportunity for him because he's been taken out of the limelight a little bit. You know, he's been given the time to recover and recoup, and especially we know how difficult anyone suffering with COVID has been, especially an elite athlete that's got to get back to those levels as quickly as possible. So, been given the time, he's been given the opportunity again tonight. But with the games that are coming up, i.e., a Champions League game against Atletico Madrid, big games in qualification for the for the Champions League, FA Cup quarterfinal against Sheffield United on the cusp as well. These are the opportunities now where if you do make a good impression, you get the opportunity to play in bigger games. And it does feel like Kai Havertz is the type of player that thrives off the bigger occasions. So maybe tonight is the first opportunity under Thomas Tuchel that he gets to really prove what he's worth.
Yeah, for sure. And it kind of maybe makes sense that maybe Tuchel wants to get him some match time before he does have to go play against Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinal if he's in his plans. It'll be interesting to see how he's deployed today. I think people kind of argue that is he a cam, is he a 10, he can play on the right. But from what we've also seen, he's kind of a second striker as well. Use Werner up top, and maybe those two, they've linked up very well for Germany when they've done so. And so it'll be interesting to see if he's deployed in that kind of position, because I don't personally think he'll be doing the Mount role. I don't think he'll be doing the Mount role so much running like he does. It's ridiculous, the output that Mason puts out. It's running the lines all the time. It's consistent. Maybe that might be a bit more of a Hudson-Odoi role for today. So yeah, it's huge. It's a massive game for him, and I'm sure he'll look at it and say, like, I've got to step up today. And who knows, maybe come full time, we'll be talking about if he needs to be in the squad from now on.
Fingers crossed, mate. That is all from us for now. Make sure you stick with us on the Fifth Stand. There's lots more coming up in the build-up to Chelsea versus Everton. But first, time to hear from the manager, Thomas Tuchel, in his pre-match press conference in full.
Hello again. There's only 1 point between you and Everton, with both teams winning again tonight. How crucial is this match for the top four? What have you made of Everton so far this season?
Yeah, it's the next situation where there are 1 point difference only between the teams. Everton had a very strong start into the season and had now a big win also here at Anfield, and from there kept the momentum again going. Very strong squad, very, very physical, full of talent, strong strikers, dangerous number 10 with James. Strong, experienced players, super strong manager at the sideline, with Carlo, who knows how to keep a momentum going, how to keep the flow going. It's like I said, it's good that these games are on, and it's good that we have a next big match, because that drives us, that gets us out of bed early. And then it's a very natural process to be at our top level again, because you don't need many words. The situation is very clear. It does not change, and we will need the next top level performance to be able to win. And this is what we are up for at Stamford Bridge.
Thank you, Jacob Steinberg.
Hi, Thomas. N'Golo Kanté struggled a lot with injuries in the last couple of years, but and obviously when you came in, he was out as well, wasn't in the side. But tonight, did you see someone who was maybe a bit more like his old self? Do you think he's looking fitter and happier at the moment? And if that's the case, how big for you is that going to be between now and the end of the season?
Super big. Was clear from the first second in training. What this guy is capable of doing is unbelievable. When you see his intensity in the physical report after matches, you think that they maybe tracked two persons and put it into one sheet. This is unbelievable in terms of what he delivers, in terms of intensity, in terms of ball recoveries, and of devotion for a group. This is world class. Highest level, and very, very happy that he's in our squad. It's like this, that we cannot now, like you said, he comes from injury. He will not play now all games 90 minutes before we arrive in the national break. We have to manage him. We do this together with our physical coaches, and we have to take care about him, that he arrives fit until national break, and when he comes back, this is normally the momentum where I hope that we can rely on him in every game. I'm very, very happy to have him, Kova, and Jorginho in defensive midfield. This is exactly the level we need to win games on the highest level, and super happy with all of them.
James Robson.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
You've now beaten Jose Mourinho, Diego Simeone, and Jurgen Klopp already in the first 10 games. Is that the best proof that you are the world-class manager that Roman Abramovich wants to take Chelsea back to the top of England and European football?
I'm flattered, but thanks for the compliment, but I would just give the flowers to the players and to the club. You know, it's proven that Chelsea is an organization and a club that has everything what you need to be successful as a coach, and as a football team. So now it's my job to bring out the very best of myself together with the team, because there's no other way to express myself than with team performances. And I'm happy to be at the sideline. I feel an attitude, unbelievable attitude towards training and towards games. I feel exactly the bond between players that is necessary. In the whole world, when football is played, the teams who stand out are the teams who fight for each other, who are ready to sacrifice, who are happy for each other, who push each other from the bench. And this is exactly what I found. Found a lot of talent, and it's a pleasure to compete with this team and this group against other strong manager and with their groups, and to be in this competition is pure joy in the moment. Is everything what you look for as a coach, and nothing more.
Okay, last two questions. Vinny O'Connor and then Adam Newson to finish. Vinny.
Thomas, just as we're getting to such a crucial period in the season, and as you say, the international break is coming up, do you have concerns about your players going off on international duty, and would you even stop them going into red list countries if they're called up by their countries too?
I am absolutely worried, because my target is to play Premier League, and if I have players in quarantine, I cannot build a group, the group that we want. This is the risk, and I'm absolutely worried about this situation. But I'm also sure that the club knows how to handle it, and if it maybe is the consequence that players cannot go, then this is the consequence. The situation is extraordinary. We have to adapt, and we will do this as a club, and we will take these decisions when the decisions are taken. It's not tonight, but we are very concerned about the situation.
Okay, last question, Adam Newson.
Hi, Thomas. Monday's game will mark a year to the day that Stamford Bridge was last full with supporters. How strange has it been for you to take over a club and not have the fans in the stadium and not have that connection with them yet?
Yeah, I had to get used to it, unfortunately, also from March on, when we played in Paris without spectators in Champions League, second leg against Dortmund. When we did this, we thought it's a matter of weeks. So now it's 1 year. The sport is not the same. Football is not the same, because we play it for the fans. We play it on the highest level for entertainment and for our fans and for all the supporters around the world. It gives you a certain edge. It gives you a certain energy that you cannot have in an empty stadium. Do we like it? No. Are we grateful that we can still play? Yes, absolutely. We are absolutely aware of that. But at the same time, you cannot compare. I cannot wait until our fans are back. I think it would be a pleasure if they feel the same energy that I feel on the sideline. I think we can really get the crowd going, and I cannot wait until everybody is there, because this team has everything to entertain our supporters, and hopefully as soon as possible.
Ingle. Poke forward to Sam Kerr. West Ham want the flag. It's a good cross into England. The flag had gone up anyway, wouldn't have counted. Early threat down that left though. Decent stop from Brosnan. In by G. Whiten with the up and under. They all stay forward, including Millie Bright here. Charles. England's got there. That's a brilliant cross. It's an early goal. Yet another fast Chelsea start. And yet another goal against West Ham for Sam Kerr. She's gone one above Fran Kirby in the WSL charts. But huge credit to Bethany England. That cross is brilliant. Here comes the corner. It'll drop for G. You can catch them far better than that. Kerr. Great cross. And Pernille Harder should have scored. And West Ham will get it clear. Or will they? Well, they will now, but that is a sitter, really. Especially for someone of her talents. Brosnan in the way. G. Finding Harder again. It's a tight angle. Gone for it anyway. Keeper always favourite there. 8 in her last 9, Pernille Harder, and a couple of first half opportunities here. Would have done well to squeeze that in though. Long throw. Good pace here from Kerr. England's in the middle, 2-0. An early goal in each half from the Blues, and it's that same combo in reverse this time. Good quick thinking. Another great cross, this time from Kerr rather than to Kerr. Just onside, unmarked in the middle. Bethany England's not going to miss that. Kirby kept it moving. This is Wrighton. Dinked in by Fleming to Fran Kirby! It's off the bar. Gee, surely. Wrighton. Oh, Brosnan saved it. How on earth has she kept that out? Some point-blank saves today she's made that have spared West Ham a far heavier beating. Somehow it stays 2-0. First the Kirby effort. Brosnan just a spectator for that. And that's an amazing stop to deny Guro Wrighton. Dali with the free kick. And it's over. Musovic bar. A pretty quiet debut for Zakira Musovic in the Chelsea goal.
Tá bem? Bem, graças a Deus. Você, bem? Pô, não te vi. Vai devagar. Beijão, moleque.
For the first time, we're introducing a flyers model on a football boot. Flyers follow universal design principles. When we design for extreme needs,
Just a point separates the two sides heading into kick-off. Both know a result tonight will close the gap with Leicester and United and open up a new one with a chasing pack as well. Here is the team that Thomas Tuchel has selected for the visit of Everton. In goal, Eduard Mendy, a back three, captained by Cesar Azpilicueta, Andreas Christensen and Kurt Zouma. Reece James, Marcos Alonso, Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Kai Havertz and Timo Werner on the bench for Chelsea tonight. Kepa Arrizabalaga, Antonio Rudiger, Thiago Silva, N'Golo Kanté, Christian Pulisic, Olivier Giroud, Mason Mount, Ben Chilwell and Hakim Ziyech. Our one to watch tonight is Kai Havertz, his first Premier League start since Thomas Tuchel's first Premier League game in charge against Wolves. Jace, we know how good he is. We've seen that in even just the Barnsley game where he bags a hat-trick. We know his potential. He's a young man. He's had to deal with a lot this year in terms of COVID and moving to a new league, new environment. But tonight's a big opportunity for Kai, isn't it?
It is a big opportunity for him. And he has had a difficult time. There's a number of reasons that you've highlighted there. And don't forget, he's come from a different culture. He's still incredibly young. He's younger than Mace. I know people know this, but sometimes we need to remind them. The fee it's clearly a huge fee for someone so young, and that potential we're hoping will be realised here in a blue shirt. It's games like this. This is a big game for us. It's games like this that he's been brought in for. You know, those games where we need that edge, we need the ability to turn a game. For someone who has the talent in a tight game, maybe, to give us that opportunity to get him on the ball. You're right, he can score goals, he can set those up. We're all waiting for more, let's be brutally honest, and he's probably waiting to give us more as well, because we haven't seen the very, very best. And I am the reasons you mentioned there, for games like this is why he's been doing it.
Pat, we all consume a lot of football. I know every football fan on the planet. There's no secrets now in world football. So when we signed Kai Havertz, it was a massive coup. You know, I mean, I was one of the first to say I felt that was like a real sort of putting a line in the sand to say, look, this for me felt like the biggest one since Eden Hazard, where we'd jumped ahead of so many other suitors that were so desperate to get Kai to join. And like Jason said, he's such a young man. He's got such a big and prosperous future ahead. But games like tonight, I suppose, for himself, are ones where he wants to establish himself and say, look, I might be young, but I'm more than ready to contribute at the very highest level.
I don't think there was any thought within the club that you were buying the finished article then and there. What you're buying is somebody who is definitely going to be good enough, absolutely definitely going to be good enough to do it at the very, very highest level. I mean, Championship, League, Championship, European Championship League level. And I think he will continue to do and recover and get better as this season goes on. I watched every single goal that he scored in his time with Germany. So I went and checked back on them all. And it's not even a doubt. It's going to happen. But we need to make sure that he's allowed to get into those positions, do well in those positions, often enough, get enough starts. That's the toughest thing it's going to be for him, because looking at all the players around, looking at the bench tonight, it's really, really scary. So, you know, if he gets a number of games in a row and we provide him with those balls into the box, which, have a look at our wing backs tonight, there'll be plenty of balls getting in there tonight. You know, it's going to happen. I do hope it's tonight, and you're right, it's a big win for tonight. If it doesn't happen tonight for him, don't worry, it will eventually. But this is made for him tonight, and they're not playing with a back five tonight, Everton, which makes a big, big difference to Kai Havertz when he's arriving in that inside left, inside right area, which he's spectacularly good at. The other good thing for him, playing it along with his mate Timo Werner, who will run beyond and stretch the game, which will allow more space yet again for Kai. You're right, this is a great opportunity for him.
Ben, with a lot of players that join Chelsea, I've read this and heard this from countless players that have signed over the years about the family feel. You know, the fact that everyone at Chelsea is so personable. You know, the likes of yourself and Lee that have access to players at Cobham that speak to them on a regular basis. And obviously, we haven't had that. We haven't been able to make that personal connection since Kai has been at the club. The fact that we've not had fans in the ground. There's so many contributing factors that can help a player settle in a lot quicker. I do think at times, like Pat said, there's no doubt that he'll come good. There's no doubt that we'll see the very best out of Kai Havertz. But we do, I suppose, gloss over and forget how different it is and how for such a young player, those sort of homely feels that Chelsea have been so brilliant at welcoming and creating, they're a lot more difficult to make those sort of connections this season.
Without doubt, because you can't go and do the things you might do. You know, you're told about an area. There is a team down there led by people like Kevin Campello, and he's got a little team with him, in fact, that if you've got a family, I know this is the case with Kai, but they'll show you what schools are around and the sorts of houses in this sort of area, and little bed sits, one up, one down, that sort of thing, and all those things, and that a lot of people love London, for instance, and state that as a reason. I love city life and da da da. He's not had any of that, so it really is just bubble life, and that must be odd. You imagine yourself at 20. A longer time ago for some of us than others, or 21 or whatever, and you do go to another country, but then you just go in and out of training. It's almost hotel, airport, training, football match, hotel, airport, home, PlayStation, whatever, and not a lot else. And those things can and do matter, and they probably are harder to deal with when you're 21 than if you're Thiago Silva and you've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt.
Zach, Ben's 100% right. I think everyone has found the lockdowns and the new way of life very challenging, and that's that's not something that we can ever make light of, because it is such a challenge for people physically and mentally. Kai obviously contracted COVID and was unwell with it for quite a while and unavailable, and it is that there's so many contributing factors, but also the fact that his numbers aren't that bad. It's very easy to kind of forget that he's already scored a hat-trick for Chelsea. There's players that could be here 10-15 years and not get a hat-trick in a Chelsea shirt. 3 assists and a goal in the Premier League is better than a lot of people in terms of the company he's keeping elsewhere in the league. So the bar is very, very high for Kai Havertz, purely because we know how good he can be.
Yeah, exactly, and half of it is rival fans obviously want a player to not do so well because they didn't get them, or that they'll have to deal with them being succeeding whilst they're not. And I'm sure you just kind of got it to put it to one side. It's what happens. One of the things that, as Ben mentioned there, like there's so many factors that we just won't think about, and they do matter. I was lucky enough to speak to Timo Werner a couple of days ago, and he says in it, like, it is very much just go training, go home, and he is looking forward to like being able to explore London, enjoy that kind of side of it, see where he's moved to. I mean, I moved out at 19, and I thought that was daunting. Imagine moving out at 20 to another country without your family. It's something that isn't that's something that we can comprehend, really, and having such a big fee attached. It's all a lot of pressure, and to be quite honest, he's dealing with it well. There aren't many big moves that work out straight away. I would maybe say Bruno Fernandes is one of, and that's really it, where you go for a lot of money and you bang straight away. Normally what happens is the next season, the season after that, you get better and better and better, and it's good. I think we'll be hearing a lot more about Kai Havertz over the coming years.
Completely right. By the way, that episode of Unscripted that Zach's done with Timo Werner, well worth a watch. So do go and check that out. It's on the Fifth Stand or on the YouTube channel as well. We are 10 games or so into Thomas Tuchel's reign. Incredibly, only 2 goals conceded. Andreas Christensen has played a huge role in that, and we're going to look at his standout performance in a second. Ben, thank you so much for joining us, mate. I know you've got to go and do prep for the game and everything like that. So we'll chat about Andreas Christensen after this. Cheers, Ben.
Things were looking quite difficult for Andreas Christensen for a little while there. Thiago Silva coming in, working well with Rudiger. However, since we've gone to a back three, Thomas Tuchel has realised his capabilities. He's like a playmaker in that back three there. There's a little bit of time, but there's that comfort in the ball of picking out the right passes. And like Thiago Silva, he can look like a playmaker from that position. Look, the bread and butter stuff you got to do. Positioning, tackling, making sure you do the right things in those sort of areas. That's important. Seeing where the danger is, reading it, getting in there. All that stuff you got to do. You also have to remember that Andreas has got more pace than you give him credit for against Sadio Mane. Serious pace, but didn't look in danger. Working alongside your other centre-half, Rudiger there, right in front of him, understanding, talking. But this is the stuff. Comforting the ball. I'm not going to be panicked. I'm going to close down a bit here, but I'm not panicking. And when you do this, you drag people on a little bit. I want it again. I'm available. I will take chat, play the right ball. Now we're just about through, and when we get through, what happens? We get space. Ball comes up here and Mason Mount's going at that danger area. All that stuff, the easy stuff, he's learning that and getting better. In fact, he's getting better and better every week.
Jace, I know that you've been a big advocate for Andreas Christensen. In a back three, he does look so settled and so composed. And I suppose the biggest compliment you can pay him is the fact that Thiago Silva is sat with a jumper on the touchline tonight rather than the starting 11.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's in the team of merit as far as I'm concerned. We don't know how far Thiago Silva is away from fitness, and who knows, Atleti may well be calling and he might go with a little bit more experience. But right here, right now, Andreas has been one of the shining stars under Tuchel. He came in a difficult game away from home against Spurs, and since then has not looked back. I'm trying to think of, when I look back over Andreas' career here, I've always felt that there's more to come. He plays within himself, that we haven't quite seen the very best of him. I just wonder, we're starting now to see the Andreas I thought I was going to see 7-8 years ago, however long we were when he first burst onto the scene. And it feels as though that at times the game's kind of passed him by. Not the game he's playing, but sometimes maybe players have gone in there. I want to see someone fight for that position. Where they get in, take that opportunity. This time round, Andreas has. He's enjoying his football. I have been critical of him at times. I think that there is perhaps times where he could give a little bit more. But right now, I think we're looking at possibly the best Andreas that we have seen. And like I said, he's in there on merit. He's there. There's enough competition at place at centre half. Look where Kerr was. Look where he is now. And in a 3, absolutely suits his game. He's much better suited to a 3 and a 4. A bit like David Luiz was.
I mean, he's made over 100 appearances for Chelsea, and like Jason said, Pat, he's been around for a good while. I mean, you go through in terms of the most Premier League games he's played in a season. He played 27 in the 17-18 season, 21 last year. He's made 10 this season, which, considering that he played only one Premier League game between September and February, he's now in a run of games where he's getting that position, he's getting that maturity. Like Jason said, his ability on the ball is never been in doubt. And in the middle of a 3, in this kind of system, we're seeing players that are starting to sort of grow into the system and grow into Thomas Tuchel's plans, where perhaps if you're playing a 4, he doesn't get a look in. But when you've got certain players that certain systems, then you're always going to get the best out of them, aren't you?
Oddly enough, up until now, I would say, yes, definitely in a 3. But I think going forward, he'll be okay in a 4. There's a number of reasons for it. The biggest one is, it happens with centre-backs. They never quite get there until they're about 24, 25, 26. They're not quite cooked yet. And there's a variety of reasons for it. A, you need to be physically right. Have a look at what's been happening to John Stones of late. He's finally got the physique that he has to have. And it's really hard because not everybody grows it. In other positions, you can get away with it. It's absolutely fine. See, centre-back, can't make mistakes. You can't even switch off for a second because you're against some of the best strikers in the world. And you're going to get done. And you're going to get done time and again. And if you're not physically strong, I mean core physical strength, not just your butch kind of look, the whole thing, balance everything. And with centre-backs, generally, it takes the vast majority, 24's early, still early. You really had it after that. I mean, Jason's sitting there. Jason, I'm sure you know yourself. When did you feel the best you were as a player? I mean, it's got to be after that, surely.
Yeah, and we're now starting to see that from Andreas now. He's now looking into that man, if you like, that we've been waiting him to develop into. Just one thing that if we look back over last season, 2 games that I look at for Andreas where he struggled. Sheffield United away. He certainly exercised that coast earlier last month it was. And of course away at Everton, where Calvert-Lewin was, if you remember, Duncan Ferguson's first game in charge. And he absolutely gave Andreas a hard time physically. That's going to happen again today, because if you get a player that knows they can get a better of you physically, you mark my words, it's coming again. Andreas has got to step up and deal with that physicality, because he knows that he knows what's coming. And I think Calvert-Lewin knows what's going to give him.
I didn't realise as well that the centre-halves don't peak till they're sort of 24, 25, 26. I gave up too early, clearly.
I got a chance, lads. 23.
Never made the peak, and then I gave up. Unbelievable, fuming. Zach, our topic 3 is there is no I in team. Now, I know that you speak to quite a lot of people, obviously, for the unscripted series, and you spoke to Timo Werner, you spoke to Andreas Christensen recently. Something that I've got the vibe kind of off of all of them is that sort of togetherness and that instilled belief that everyone is part of something bigger, and I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, for sure. It's you mentioned earlier how like Chelsea's a family. I think it's very much the same. The guys, when I spoke to Timo, it was like when he joined, he got integrated into it very easily. Maybe not to the same extent of what could have happened maybe beforehand, where in a normal year where you go on pre-season, your initiation songs, all that kind of stuff, spend so much time with each other whilst traveling America, Asia, wherever it is. So it's been a bit different, but it's still there. You can just watch the Chelsea training videos on the YouTube channel, the Fifth Stand Up, and you see how it's about like wanting to get one over you, so I can, if the nutmeg eggs, you see them on Instagram, all that kind of stuff, where that's not fake. You don't fake that. It's a family bond, it's friendships. And I think the way the dressing room is split, actually they're in 2 different dressing rooms, but that's had no effect at all. They're all together and they're all for one. And it's been good to see, especially recently. You've kind of seen it on the pitch as well. Once they all score, the Mason Mount and Chilwell celebration, right? They're good mates as well as teammates.
How important is that, Pat, as well? Because the dressing rooms you've been in, I know that because there's obviously some famous relationships over the years between sort of centre forwards and stuff that didn't like each other off the pitch, but on the pitch were just incredible. But in your experience, how much does that give you an extra, a little bonus, a positive, however you want to label it?
It's actually gigantic. It's really massive. When I was playing against Everton, and when I played for Everton, see, after a year, the dressing room was a nightmare. It's a horrible place to be. There just wasn't any cohesion. There was cliques all over the place. And we didn't absolutely nowhere near maximise the potential of the team we could have been, purely because of that. So the thing is, it can take a long time to build it, and you can destroy it in no time at all. Absolutely. And it only takes 2 or 3 to do it. So, sometimes the manager will look at people and think, if you're not acting the right way within this group, you're out. And the fans will be going, wow, he's one of our best players. But if you're in the dressing room, you're thinking, yeah, I'm with that. The nice thing is, you've got a whole bunch of players there. And by the way, a whole bunch of players there. And the actions all seem to be absolutely superb. I mean, I've looked at the variety, the youngsters all together. That really helps because you can be a group together. Kai coming in, Timo coming in. But they're coming in with a bunch of guys that, Reece is there, Mason's there. It's a bunch of guys your own age. And it's roughly around your age. It's a great thing. But then you look at somebody else. Then look at Olivier Giroud and watch his perfect team ethic. And you think, that's how I should work. That's how I should be. And that's the joy of it. The biggest and best characters in that group, whether they're young or whether they're old, are all about the team. And that's why it looks so good. And I love it. And Zach's right. You can't act that. You can feel it. You can't even touch it, but you can see it and you can know why it's there. And you're absolutely, Zach, you're very close to it a few times, but it's definitely there. You can see it with the way the teams works together.
Jace, everything that Pat's saying there, completely in terms of the work output that you've seen, and also the fact that the manager has already sort of laid his stall out to say, look, if you're not working, then you'll come off, you'll be replaced. He's got options from the bench. He's got players that can come in and do those specific roles. So if you're not giving 100% all of the time for the team as part of a collective, then you'll be sacrificed, sort of thing. And I suppose when you know that as a player, that you don't need any more incentive than that to know that if I don't put a shift in here for the team, if I'm not doing the team's job, then I'm not going to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's becomes a prerequisite. That I mean, if anyone in your job, if you're not putting your weight and you're not doing what you're told, you're not doing it to the best of your ability, chances are you're going to be replaced. And in football, you can get rotated. There might be reasons for that. You might be carrying or not. But there's all different. Well, look, we saw that McCallum hudson-odoi, didn't we? When he brought him on against Southampton and then took him off after about half an hour. Clearly, if you're not going to do what he wants, he will make those changes. He's not afraid. And at Chelsea, you know what your job description is. You've got to win trophies. You've got to win trophies because if you don't, you won't last a long time. We've seen that in the past. And he's come out to win trophies for Chelsea. He's come to get Chelsea into that Champions League. He's still in the Champions League, still in the FA Cup. Him as a person that's come in here to win, he's got a huge amount he can still achieve in this very short space of time that he's been here. So, yeah, either you're with him, and with all cases, either you're with him, you run with him, or he will leave you behind.
Well, it's time to take a look at Goal of the Month for February. There's some absolute screamers in here as well, so it's going to be quite difficult, but make sure you vote for your favourite.
Sheffield United, who have never lost a Premier League home game in February. It's a small sample size. 5 wins, 2 draws. This is Werner, looks to pull it back. Man with a shot, finds the corner brilliantly. Wonderfully teed up and ruthlessly finished.
Absolutely perfect. It's a wonderful goal. Well worked and really executed well.
Right, it's a good ball for Anderson. Even better one on for Kirby. Back for Harder for 2. What a goal. Sensational stuff from Chelsea. Pernille Harder has her second of the night. And this is a goal of genuine quality.
Since Bell moves away, the only candidate was Charlie Webster therefore, and here he comes. Oh, that is brilliant. Charlie Webster, what a free kick he's produced there. And it's an early lead for the Blues. A brilliant third goal of the season for the impressive Webster. From Alonso, oh, it nearly fell for Giroud, it did for Mount, and then Giroud! Yeah! Oh, what a goal!
What a finish, what a great goal. So well timed. You're right, Oblak's at full strength and still can't get anywhere near it. That's a great finish.
Don't forget to vote for your favourite. I know it's difficult. There are a few contenders in there easily. Let's have a little look at today's opponents then. Pat, I'm going to come to you first, naturally, of course. I mean, it's no surprise. Carlo Ancelotti, we're all massive fans of Carlo. What an incredible job he did during his time here at Chelsea. I remember just goals all the time. Goals, the double, so many. He's just a classy individual. But their specific threat today, I suppose, comes from Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. They're the two obvious ones. Is that what we got to look out for tonight?
Absolutely. Richarlison's on fire, as we know just now. It's 4 goals in 4 games. His work rate's been superb. But Dominic's a kind of a brilliant all-rounded striker. You know, he could do anything. He could go anywhere at the very, very top level. When Carlo initially said, like, this guy can go to the top and be England's centre-forward, I remember thinking, nah, there's a few things missing there. Well, they ain't missing anymore. I'm just watching on my screen a little while ago, Duncan Ferguson walking off, and I think he's learned a wee bit from him as well. So he's put that team together well. They're a well-structured team just now. The first 11 that they've got out today is great. Their bench is mega weak in comparison. I mean, you look at our bench and look at their bench. But that's the joy of what Carlo's managed to do. He's held it together. He's kind of glued it together even when it's been kind of falling apart over this season. And he's done an incredible job to stick where they are. They'll be hard today. They'll be tough today. I think Jason mentioned it before. Doucouré not playing is probably the big highlight for us because his energy, he's the only player I know who gets stronger as the game goes on, even if it's 120 minutes. He's extraordinary. I'm delighted he's not playing, but this will be an open game. They've got nothing to lose, absolutely nothing to lose. They're delighted where they are just now. So, you know, last game I went to see them, as I say, it was 5-4 against Spurs. Carlo was amazing with his technical and tactical changes during the game. But even that side of it, Carlo against Thomas will be worth watching tonight. I
mean, Calvert-Lewin, he's good. Richarlison's good. No Pat Nevin, no are they? Come on, let's have it absolutely right. Zach, you've gone 3-0. You've gone 3-0 today, mate. So who are you going first goal scorer then?
Oh, goodness. You know what? Timo Werner. I think his pace today will be very good. The fact that Everton have started a squad that look like they're going to try and give us a game, meaning they'll be higher up the pitch, will give them a bit more room to run into. We saw that pace and how effective it was against Liverpool today. I wouldn't be too surprised if you keep seeing Jorginho try that ball over the top, and if I'm Holgate, I wouldn't want to be having to run after him all the time. It's ridiculous. The explosiveness of him is so impressive. And today, hopefully, he was unfortunate to not get a goal. Maybe we'll see that rule change next summer. And yeah, I'll go with Timo.
Fingers crossed, mate. Well, not long until we join our commentary team, including Jason Cundy, of course. But first, let's hear from the brilliant Lee Parker, who caught up with the boss ahead of today's game with Everton.
Focusing on the home form, Thomas, 4 clean sheets from your 4 games at Stamford Bridge so far. How much do you think it's important to try and build a fortress in our home stadium?
It's super important, super important. Away teams must feel uncomfortable when they arrive at Stamford Bridge. They must feel uncomfortable when they come onto the pitch. They absolutely need to know what challenge they are up to, what energy and what momentum. Now it's a bit of awkward situation because that all home teams suffer from Corona a lot throughout whole Europe. All home teams miss their fans and the support, which can create even bigger momentum than only your performance. You have to normally analyze every game and every result apart from each other, but we are not happy that we draw 2 games out of 4. We need these points and we need them in any situation. And right now we have a race to we have a race to finish to be in the top 4, so we need every point. So we're not absolutely happy with all the results, but the performances were on the highest level. The energy I liked a lot, and I think that once we have the stadium full, that people can feel that the players have a certain bond, that they have a certain spirit that you can feel on the stands, because this is what this game is all about. That to entertain people, that they love to come to our games, that they know we should not miss the first 5 minutes or the last 5 minutes, because anything can happen, and it starts right from the first whistle. This is the way what we want to create, and this is what we need the fans also for, and this is why we miss them a lot.
Absolutely. You mentioned the race for the top 4 there, Thomas. Everton are certainly part of that, aren't they? They've picked up some big wins along the season. What have you made of their campaign so far?
Well, they started extraordinary, and they still profit from that run in the beginning. They are a solid group. They have strong individual players. Carlo Ancelotti built a strong group, like always. He is totally part of that group, very, very close to his players, always able to maintain players and groups with good results on their high level and on their run. So very experienced manager, world-class manager, and a very strong group that truly believe, because they have some crucial moments, some crucial results, some big results, which gave them a lot of belief. Yeah, and they're absolutely in the race for the top 4, and this is our home game. But like I said before, home games, the games we absolutely want to win, and we will go out and try nothing else but that.